Hello and welcome back to our Terrace podcast special series on the laws of the game. My name's Craig Anderson. I am joined by Euan Taylor.
Hello, Craig.
And today we are going to talk about Law 9. Law 9 being the ball in and out of play. Really interesting one.
Exciting.
How do we know when the ball is in or out of play?
Well, all of the ball has to be over all of the line, famously.
And yeah, that's exactly what it says. The ball is out of play when it has passed wholly over the goal line or the touch line, on the ground or in the air. I like how it has to specify that, but I suppose in basketball, it's only when it touches the ground, right? So you can like hang your arm out over the line. Cricket's the same actually in terms of like catches and boundaries and stuff like that. So I suppose it is worth saying that as soon as it crosses it in the air as well. That's the primary reason the ball's out of play, but also when play has been stopped by the referee. So if the referee gives a free kick or a foul or anything else, then the ball becomes out of play at that point. And this is a fairly new one, but it's also becomes out of play now when the ball touches a match official, stays on the field, and either a team starts a promising attack, the ball goes directly into the goal, or the team in possession of the ball changes. So there's three parts to that one. So this never used to be part of the laws of the game. It used to literally be the ref was part of the game if the ball hit them tough shit. That's varied a little bit. They're still in many cases, if the referee gets in the way of a guy dribbling it and he still keeps the ball after it, they keep going with it. But there are obviously these situations now. I think there was a situation, it might have been in like very lower league football in the Netherlands, where a referee scored a goal where basically a guy hit a shot from the edge of the box. The ref had crept a little bit too close and it rebounded off him and went in. And there's nothing the referee could have done at that point but give the goal. Clearly suboptimal for everyone involved. So number two there changes that. The second one, if the ball goes in off the referee, it's no longer a goal. Also, if the ball hitting off the referee leads to a team starting an attack, then the game will be stopped. And if the team who's in possession of the ball changes, so if a pass, for example, hits off the referee and rebounds to the other team, then the game will be stopped and restarted with a drop ball. And that indicates like that I think that change is one of a number that we've spoken about this a few times. Sometimes the laws changing are bad. I think that one makes a lot of sense. There was no real benefit. We're always talking about the referee. It could obviously be the assistant as well, if the assistant's even standing. It's an interesting one in terms of where the assistant stands, because in order to see like throw-in decisions, like they want to be looking right down the line, which means they're standing on the line. But then if the ball hits them when they're standing on the line, then the ball hasn't gone out. So there's an odd scenario there with things like that. But the ball being over the line, I think, is one that, I mean, I think almost every football fan who goes to games regularly does know that law. But I think when you're sitting in the stand, your perspective can be pretty skewed on it. Because I think there are often times where you think, oh, that's definitely gone out. But of course, you're sitting like straight onto the line, kind of behind it. I mean, obviously, if you want to talk about in and out of play decisions, I think the big one's obviously Japan v Spain at the World Cup. A decision that literally nobody watching the game live, even watching the replays, anything at all, thought there was any doubt that ball had gone out.
Yeah.
And then you see this. I mean, you see this one angle where probably a very small segment of the ball is indeed overhanging the line, and I thought it's.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that
it's almost like the spin. I mean that caused a lot of trauma for me, that decision, because the Europa League final, the Rangers lost some penalties. You may recall that Ryan Kent missed a sitter right at the end of extra time, and I had always sort of consoled myself with the fact that it was I think it was Roof that had crossed the ball in, and it looked like it probably had gone out of play. So I'd always consoled myself with, well, it would have been disallowed by VAR, and that would have been even worse than what actually happened. But when that happened, I was like, you know what, maybe it wasn't even over the line, and it would have counted. So I've always had that trauma. But there's a few exactly like I think with Newcastle Arsenal this season, they couldn't really. I think it was like they couldn't conclusively say because they didn't have the same technology that they have in the World Cup. So they I think it was they just sort of took the decision that. I think there was about 3 incidents like that in that one goal, if you recall, where it was like VAR's like, that's probably wrong, but we don't have a conclusive. We can't prove it, so it was like 3 in a row, which almost feels like in VAR you should just
the cumulative effect.
Intervene. Yeah, but which is obviously not how it works. So so that was an odd one, but yeah, it is one of those where I mean, obviously there's this perspective issue. Remember, it was Richard Keys. Was it maybe the Brazil World Cup? I'm sure he was like adamant that something had gone over the line, and then a few hours later, was like, "I've got us a new angle." It's like, well, you've taken a screenshot from somebody else. But anyway, so his perspective is like such a big thing with these decisions. You know, and the ball being obviously spherical makes it pretty hard.
Yeah, I think there's a really good clip. Someone did it. I think they did it before, but then it was reshared around that Spain Japan incident where it was someone with like a ball, like a kid's flyaway ball, I think it was, on the on their kind of, what do you call that, in between the rooms, the metal bar.
You sort of, rail.
Well, I call it a mantelpiece. I know it's not a mantelpiece. Let's call it the breakwater. It's not that either.
Yes. Okay.
That will annoy me now, but nonetheless, and he was obviously had the camera from like behind it and around about it and from the sides and so on, and then when he went up above it, it was quite clearly it wasn't even that close to being out, but from the perspective to start with, it looked quite clear. I think that's really, really useful and interesting, and I think there should be more analysis like that kind of done live to just to show people how their perception can be varied, because I think it's one of those things that annoys people kind of pointlessly. We know about the ball going out of play. What about the ball being in play? Quite obviously the ball is in play at all other times. So if the ball is not out of play, then it is in play. It's very much a binary situation. And that includes, I think that's the point of this, it includes when it touches a match official in other situations, i.e. if the team keeps the ball, if it hits the post or the crossbar, it stays in play. Should be obvious to most people, and one of my favourites, if it hits the corner flag or the corner post, I suppose, not the flag itself, then it remains on the field of play. And I love that situation where it hits the flag, because it's like everyone obviously, when a ball is going out of play for a throw in a corner, the players kind of stop naturally, we breather, and then all of a sudden it's like, who's going to be the first one to notice that it's actually stayed in? And so I enjoy that little kind of it's like a mini game within football of that happening. But yeah, that's a pretty short one. I will give you a couple of these questions because why not? First one: after a goal kick has been taken by the goalkeeper, the ball touches the referee outside the penalty area, remains on the field of play, and bounces back towards the goal. The goalkeeper handles the ball to prevent it from entering the goal. What is the correct decision?
There remains on the field of play. It would just be play on because possession hasn't changed.
It's a dropped ball because the referee, the goalkeeper handling the ball would be an offence typically if he kicked it himself and no other players touched it.
Right.
So because
that was a technical one.
Because that should have been an offence, but it's obviously entirely a promising goal scoring situation or whatever from the referee. Then, fortunately, like with that one, it's like that's like a common sense decision, because you'd be worried it was like, oh yeah, send the goalkeeper off, please. Let's say this one. We'll do this one. A player kicks the ball that hits the referee and leaves the field by the goal line or the touchline. How's play restarted?
That would be a drop ball to the team that kicked the ball with the referee. No.
I would have said so. Because surely the team in possession changes.
Yeah.
At that point. Oh, it says remains on the field of play. Is that part? Oh, it does say remains on the field of play. That seems to need to be. I would have got that wrong as well. I have to say that needs to be changed.
There you go.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, because
IFAB, get on that one.
Yeah.
Stop fucking about with handball and fix that.
Exactly. That's a huge issue of the game.
Yeah, I mean, how many times it happens as well? We'll never move for. Although it's like all of these things, right? It's not an issue until it does happen.
Yeah,
for example, the Euro 2024 final, which might have happened by the time this podcast goes out, and maybe that incident will have occurred.
Yeah, exactly. We could be skirting over something that becomes a hot topic, but
maybe that corner could lead to Jack Hendry's winner. You don't know. We'll wait and see.
And this law doesn't cover, and I can't remember if we've covered it in any other ones, or maybe it's still to come. But what I was thinking of when they're talking about like the ball remains in play regardless, in all other situations, almost as foreign objects.
I think we did foreign objects in one of the previous ones. The foreign object, it'll be kind of the. I think it's generally the discretion of the referee. Usually it'll be stopped now, unlike what it used to be. We talked about that. I can't remember exactly which law that's in, but I think it was the referee, actually, number 5, and the duty of the referee to stop play at those points. You could argue Law 9 doesn't really need to exist, or it could be rolled into another one, I would argue. But nonetheless, that is Law 9. And thank you again for watching this one, and we'll be back again with Law 10.